My name's Barry Stafford, and I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Maungakiekie. You should be able to follow the program. We've got a printed program. We're going to follow that closely. And I'm about to ask one of our members to cover safety aspects because we meet in a public place. And after that, the marching music will be played and the colours will be brought in by the Scouts from St George's and the Epsom Girl Guides. And then I'll come back to you and talk to you again. Thank you. Late last year, the Rotary Club was approached to see if we would organise this year's service, and we were very grateful to receive that approach and very happy to do so. We have followed the program that's been used in the last, I would say 14 years, but it's actually 13 years with 1 year missing last year. But we followed the program that Louis and Mavis Fenelon have created over a period of that time. And it is entirely due to their efforts that we have this program today. So we would like to thank them on behalf of all of the work they've done. I want to welcome all of you here today, but specifically Jose Fowler from the Albert Eden Board, and thank them for the support they provide for this event, and also to the Reverend Jeremy Woods, who is from the St George's Church down in Rangitirti Road. He will conduct the more formal part of the service today, and we appreciate him spending the time here today. I need to call on the national anthem to be played now, and you may join in. Thank you.
No
welcome to Sue Ellen and Catherine. We're very pleased that you can be here today, and we wanted to take the opportunity of recording the community's thanks for all of the work your parents have done over the past 14 years as long-standing residents of Epsom. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Catherine Fenelon, and my sister Sue Ellen and I are pleased to have this opportunity to read the following, written by our mother Mavis. To all involved in the ANZAC services, our sincere appreciation to those who have given in so many different ways their loyal support and brilliant expertise to our ANZAC services at the Epsom Memorial Archway. Regardless of the 107 years which have passed since the cessation of the First World War, there will be those here today who recall hearing of the heart-rending anxiety of their grandparents in regards to members of their families stationed on the Western Front. The horror of the situation was unbelievable. Communication was sparse and slow to be received. Conditions were appalling, and many died from illness, along with the unimaginable chemical and physical onslaughts. It was a ghastly time, and having observed the anguished reactions to the aftermath, and with my father and his brothers having been born in Ranfurly Road in the 1800s, and my uncle Josiah, along with his school friends, having their names listed on the Epsom War Memorial, I decided we should have an ANZAC service each year at the Epsom Memorial Archway. Support from the council and residents was quickly forthcoming, so Louis and I applied for heritage status for the Archway and Reserve and commenced the preparation for the upcoming centennial ANZAC service, which was scheduled for the 25th of April 2014.
Down the path we straggled and talked. Straight into the TV lens we walked around the garden and tried to march through our simple Epsom Memorial Arch. Under the oaks, all dripping and wet, an early reminder we'll never forget. Our feet rolled on acorns and kicked on sticks. We soon awoke to all the tricks of holding our dignity for that hour, even though we had shower after shower. The dried off grass became patches muddy, a small reminder of a soldier and his buddy, and pigeons which had helped win the wars lined like sentries on the rooftops of the opposite stores. 200 umbrellas there must have been. It really was quite an amazing scene. Just lovely to see so many there, to pay their respects and to show they did care for our Epsom chats, who, full of life, took off to face the fields of strife. Our concentration was really intense to catch every word of that service's sense, with pedestrian lights, trucks and cars so near, and their pings, brakes and changing gear. But the camaraderie was certainly there, with oldies and littlies having moments to share. And fine young people with that gentle drive, declaring they'd keep this day alive, for regardless of anything else they'd been taught, they were quick to realise we had brought a huge part of Epsom's heritage, strong, right back to the place where it did belong. God bless you all, and sincere thanks to all those people who have joined the ranks and given of their love, their time and their heart to make this special day the start of something which should always have been, but hopefully now on the Epsom scene, a constant reminder of what those boys gave, those 28 who were in foreign lands.
Louis and Mavis and our family can never thank you enough for the tremendous love and support you have all given over the past years to make these services such a special, caring and honourable remembrance for our ANZACs. Bless you, the Cooper Fenelon family. At today's service, we welcome members of Maungakiekie Rotary who have kindly volunteered to organise and conduct these services into the future. With the ongoing great interest in them, we are pleased to know they will continue to afford an avenue for our young people who are so very interested in attending and who are indeed now visiting the peaceful overseas cemeteries where our ANZACs rest.
Thank you very much, and what a wonderful piece of poetry. And as a small token of our appreciation, Judith, would you come forward, please, and accept these flowers on behalf of your parents. I'd now like to introduce to you the Reverend Jeremy Woods, who is from St George's down the road, but also, I think, from Palmerston North as well. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Nau mai haere mai ko Jeremy Woods ahau. He honore nui ki te tū I konei I tēnei whenua I tēnei rā. Kia whakanui I ngā toa o Aotearoa. Good morning. It is so good to be with you this morning to honour and remember those who have gone before us, legends of our nation. Now I've been invited to ask you all to sing with me the hymn in our sheet, Abide With Me. I am not a singer, so you will have to really just, I'm going to step away from the microphone and we're all going to join in this together. So cue the song, please. It is so good to gather here today with you all as we continue the legacy of Mavis and Louis, remembering those who made the ultimate sacrifice for their community and their way of life. We gather by this memorial arch, remembering especially those young men of Epsom who died in the First World War. But today we also hold in our hearts all veterans, all those who have served, and especially those who have died in conflict. ANZAC Day draws us into some of the darkest days of our nation's history. Gallipoli, of course, 110 years to this day. 3,100 New Zealanders landed on ANZAC Cove on the 25th of April, and more than 600 would never come off those shores that day. By the end of the Gallipoli campaign, 2,721 Kiwis were dead, a few from this community, and 4,842 wounded. We remember the 12th of October 1917, the first Battle of Passchendaele. On that single devastating day, 846 young New Zealanders were killed, with thousands more wounded, many succumbing to their injuries in the days that followed. As Glyn Harper wrote, more New Zealanders were killed or maimed in these few short hours than on any other day in the nation's history. Jumping ahead to the Second World War, this year marks 81 years since the Battle of Monte Cassino, one of the toughest battles of World War II, in which New Zealand troops fought with immense bravery under horrific conditions, and was a particularly brutal and costly for the 28 Māori Battalion. By the time the New Zealand Division was withdrawn in early April, 343 New Zealanders had lost their lives and over 1,200 were wounded. Now, these are not just numbers. They represent lives cut short, potential unfulfilled, families and communities forever changed. Today, more than simply remembering and honouring their sacrifice, I want us to consider what they were fighting for. As I sat with Barry and Peter over at the coffee table there, discussing and preparing for this service, one word kept coming up again and again, and it was community. We spoke of the profound impact the loss of these young men had on their community, the community that they were fighting for the people and places they loved, for their whānau, their neighbours, for their friends, and for the communities and institutions that shaped them. And when they didn't return, when so many didn't return, it wasn't just their families that grieved. Their absence was felt, their silence heard throughout the community. The pews in our churches stood emptier, the laughter in social groups muted, the camaraderie in sports clubs diminished, familiar faces missing from the local pub, dance halls and theatres. And I started wondering, if we lost a similar proportion of our young people today, would we notice their absence in the same way? Would their absence create a void that touched every aspect of our shared lives? And this is not simply a hypothetical question, it is one that asks us to think about how we live our lives today. How well do we know our communities and our neighbours? Is there a sense of shared life? Or are we mostly living in our individual bubbles, going about our daily lives? We hear of the ANZAC spirit, of courage, mateship, resilience. At its heart, it is about a sense of belonging, of looking out for one another, and of contributing to the collective good of the community. We don't need to go to war to have this community spirit. We know it is good and right, and we celebrate it at times like this, but we also know it's very hard to build, if we're honest. We may have the best intentions, the spirit is willing, but in our modern world it feels like the flesh is so weak when it comes to actively building and participating in our communities. So many forces seem to pull us apart, drawing our attention and energy away from the local, the shared, the communal. Our lives are busier than ever. We are more digitally connected, but often disconnected from our neighbours. And we see the rise of distrust, the quickening of anger, and the fragmenting of our society. Are these the seeds of the kind of community that these men fought and died for? A community where connection frays, where empathy dwindles, and where individual concerns overshadow collective well-being. And yet, here we are, today, together in this place. And this act of remembrance is a call and a challenge for us to recommit to one another, to our communities, to what these men fought and died for. As we honour the memory of those who gave so much, let us consider our role in nurturing the spirit of community they fought to protect. What does it mean for us? What does it mean for you in your daily life to contribute to the mana and the well-being of your neighbours? to actively participate in creating the community that is worthy of their sacrifice. And so let us honour their legacy by actively building a stronger, more connected and more compassionate community right here, right now in Epsom. What better way to honour their memory than to pick up that mantle, to get involved in the life of our neighbourhood, smile and say hello to each other as we walk past one another on the street. Join a sports club, the Rotary Club. I might want some new members. Or, I don't know, perhaps get along to a local church, or a synagogue, or a mosque, or a temple. To become a regular at your local cafe or pub and get to know the barista, the bartender, and other patrons by name. To check in on the lonely, to serve where there is need. To be and become the kind of community worth fighting for. Ka maumahara tonu tātou ki a rātou, we will remember them. Nā mihi nui, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. I'd now like to come and lay the wreaths. If anyone has wreaths or flowers that they would like to bring forward, now is a time to do so as well. I'd like to invite Craig Jones to come and announce the roll of honour.
The roll of honour. Aldrich Arthur George, Lieutenant, 12 bar 1875. Bateman Harry Osborne, Rifleman, 26 bar 709. Blake Harold David, Private, 26377. Clark George Charles Latimer, Private, 42290. Cooper Hosea, Driver, 48769. Coupland Jeffrey Robinson, Rifleman, 26960. Craig Alexander, Captain, 25 bar 1635. Craig Edward Arthur, Second Lieutenant, 25988. Curry Oliver John, Rifleman, 25 bar 744. Devereaux Jeffrey DeBon, Major, 12 bar 1190. Hall Harry Frederick, Second Lieutenant, 12 bar 3343. Huggett Morris, Private, 12 bar 136. Lambert James, Private, 1451. Lane Donald Bennett, Corporal, 12 bar 783. Priestley Alfred John, Second Lieutenant, 2 bar 158. Reed Lord Raymond, Private, 31 bar 708. Reed Lawrence William, Lieutenant, 15 bar 124. Rice Joseph Henry, Private, 3 bar 1419. Russell George Edward, Private, 12 bar 1093. Scott Arthur Tennyson, Corporal, 12 bar 243. Scott Robert Francis Coghill, Captain, 10 bar 2482. Sims Eric Lane, Rifleman, 44315. Sullivan Arthur George, Private, 89646. Sweet Charles, Private, 31794. Thomas Fred, Captain, 12 bar 38843. Trembath, George Henry, private, 31748. Watson, Thomas Henry, lieutenant, 12 bar, 2605. Wood, Joseph Edward, private, 38787. Thank you.
Good morning all. It's a privilege for me to stand here and remind you of the ode of remembrance. If you know it, please feel free to say it along with me. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
And so may the peace we seek inspire us to act with understanding and compassion in our community. May the memory of those who sacrificed for peace strengthen our resolve to build a better future together. May the spirit of community for which so many bravely fought continue to strengthen and unite us in our daily life. Go now and let the spirit of unity guide your steps. Thank you.
Хотя до денежка.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you being here, and we hope you've gained something for that. Thank you.